Oxfordshire News, Oxfordshire Life,
James Cannon,
BBC Radio Oxford. Be part of it.
It is 12 minutes past 9 o'clock. It's BBC Radio Oxford, James Cannon here. 35 years ago, a new initiative started in Oxford. Have a listen to this.
Well, with each pack of coffee, there's a free fold-out leaflet which talks about the coffee industry and about trade generally. And we're also researching a pamphlet about the story of coffee called The World in Your Coffee Cup to explain to the customer the social and political implications of the coffee industry.
That was 1976, hence the quality of the audio, but that was John Danzig speaking to the BBC about his scheme to encourage ethically sourced coffee. Well, that leaflet would eventually become what we now know as fair trade. John is back in Oxford today speaking at a special conference looking at how fair trade can survive the recession. Caught up with him yesterday and asked him to take us back to the very beginning.
I had been working for a New Internationalist magazine where I was editor of an international newspaper called Yes, But What Can I Do? It was sponsored by the United Nations and quite innovative in the time. I went around the world with some other reporters reporting about action groups and what they could do to make the world a better place. And I come across other groups in Europe who were also importing coffee. So it wasn't a new idea, but it was definitely new in Great Britain. And in Oxford, there was a shop called Uhuru, who'd started a few years previously, and they'd experimented with 100 kilograms of coffee from East Africa, and it worked very well. So we got together and thought, let's do a big campaign.
And describe the reception you got in 1976.
It was a brilliant reception. There were people all over the country who bought the coffee, sincere shoppers with a conscience who wanted to make a difference. And we sold 20,000 packs of coffee from Land's End to Scotland, and church groups and all sorts of groups were having coffee mornings to buy and support this coffee from this factory in East Africa, because we wanted to support manufacturing in the third world. We had a slogan, start stirring for a more just world, and it certainly caught the imagination of a lot of coffee drinkers.
Yeah, and there's been some stirring since, to say the least. How do you rate the fair trade movement now and how it's actually moved on since 1976?
Well, we had no idea in those days that it was going to grow into an international multi-million-pound trademark. We did it as idealistic young people who wanted to make a difference, and we had to raise about £11,000 in personal loans to be able to buy this coffee, and we didn't do it for money. We did it basically to educate people about the plight of the poor coffee pickers. I think it's brilliant that fair trade exists, but my criticism of it is that the labelling isn't as informative as our labelling was. With our pack of coffee, we even had a pile of coins to show how much went to each stage of the coffee process. So, for example, our pack of 4-ounce coffee cost 66p, and about 28p of that went to the farmers in Tanzania, whereas coffee from Brazil at the time, only about 5p went to the farmers. So we knew we were making a difference and we were supporting something worthwhile.
And as far as the movement now, it's almost become a marketing tool. We've got fair trade towns, Farringdon and Oxford, for example. What do you make of them?
Well, I don't want to knock fair trade, but if you go into Sainsbury's and buy a bunch of bananas, you're only going to get a label that says fair trade. You won't learn anything about the bananas and who picked them and the sort of conditions their life are in picking bananas. So I'm critical, really, that there's not sufficient information with the fair trade products. It's great if the fair trade mark means that people get a fair day's pay for a fair day's work, but I would like to see more information. I think that if you go shopping, it sends ripples across the world. We are responsible for the lives of people who sell us goods, and I think we should take some interest in that.
John Danzig speaking to me yesterday. He'll be at that special conference in Oxford looking at how fair trade can survive the recession that's taking place today.
Oxfordshire News, Oxfordshire Life,
James Cannon,
BBC Radio Oxford. Be part of it.